Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome back to more 428 Shibuya Scramble. My name is Raven from the Sky. Let's do this. Okay, it's lit up again. Now we should be able to jump. What? I'm sorry, I was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? The antiviral research was top secret, so how does some detective from the Shibuya precinct know about it? Now we can jump, because he just asked him that question. That should get us past these bad endings. God. Did you give the antiviral drug to your daughter? He told me. So like, what? What are you talking about? We just saw that. Not sure I understand the questions. Ken was sure he'd hit the nail right on the head. I know what this syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's the virus, it's you, it's Hitomi. That's okay. They're after the virus. But should we tell him that? The virus. Osawa remained silent. Can we jump? We can. We jump back. But will I still get the bad ending? It didn't disappear. I'm not sure I understand the question. I know what the syndicate is really after. Is everything all right? They're after the virus? Did he mean the UA virus kept in the lab? Wait, hold on. The detective had to be wrong about that. The kidnappers must have the UA virus already. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to do what I did to... A preview of the tragedy that was yet to unfold. He understood what the emails were all about. The kidnappers probably meant to start the main event soon. So it's not the virus. Messed up. Mr. Osawa, Kachiro asked, "Are you alright?" The detective gazed with concern until Osawa's ashen face. Bracing himself, Osawa spoke up, his voice hoarse and dry. "A killer virus is about to be unleashed in Tokyo. I know who's responsible. It's me." Sudden confession causes detectives on site to stir like a hornet's nest. "Please arrest me." Feeling the weight of his crimes crushing down on him, Osawa dropped his gaze to the floor. He held out both of his wrists. "I'll tell you everything down at the station," he said. "Anything you need to know." Wrong choice. God darn it, man. Hold up. Let's do that again. It's not the virus. She said it's him. It's not him, I don't think. I think it's Hitomi. Let's try Hitomi. It's Hitomi. Mr. Osawa, is everything alright? He hung up. The line went dead. Guess that answers that well enough. Kano as he put away his phone. Let's see what happens. Now it was clear why the criminals were after Hitomi. He saw an uneasy look on Stanley's face. "Something on your mind?" Kano asked. Stanley responded with a question of his own. If Hitomi was carrying the antiviral, How were the criminals planning on getting it from her? Kano thought for a moment. Well, taking her by force at the scramble posed too high a risk, he said. There were nearly 100 detectives there, and they must have guessed there would be. That's why they devised the attaché case relay. They wanted to abduct Hitomi somewhere away from the Dragnet's notice. This was the plan that all the signs seemed to suggest. But still, he added, I wonder how they managed to lead her away from police protection. A look of revelation crossed Stanley's face. All they needed to do was convince her to go of her own accord. But how? And then it came to him. He thought back to Hitomi's initial contact with Tariq Al-Karan. Just before he'd taken the attaché case from her, the two had a brief conversation. It was possible Al-Karan had given Hitomi some form of instructions then. Guess we're back to tracking down Al-Karan again, huh? Kano could tell from the look in Stanley's eyes that he was on the verge of saying something. Probably some remark about how Titano had allowed Al-Karan to run free. Right now, Kano wasn't going to argue the point. After this case was resolved, he'd discover what Titano's real motives were. And once he did, Stanley would eat his words. In the meantime, we can't just wander around looking without any leads, he said. Until we get more intel, let's see what we can do with the security cameras back at the precinct. Numerous monitors shone down on the pair as they entered the Shibuya precinct surveillance room. Each showed an array of faces of individuals somewhere in Shibuya. Kano asked one of the operators to pull up Al-Karan's data on the screen. By selecting each of the faces on the monitors in turn, they could run comparisons to determine if anyone among them was Al-Karan. One by one, the operator made his way through the faces. Assuming their target was still in Shibuya, there was a high likelihood they'd find him. But the minutes ticked past, and there was still no sign of him. Kano's tone grew more and more impatient as he directed the operator's search. Just calm down, Stanley said. He set a hand on Kano's shoulder. You keep wasting your energy when you don't need to. That's just how I do things, Kano replied. I'm energetic because I care. He pointed out another face to the operator. Well, you're setting yourself up for a short life. With a sigh, Stanley sank into a nearby chair. My brother was like you. The American spoke so quietly that his words were barely audible. 10 minutes later, a man clad in black appeared on one of the monitors. The operator lined up his cursor. The parents to check confirmed that it was Al-Karan. Yes, Kano hissed, pumping his fist. It appeared that their quarry was simply walking around town, calm and composed. Kano radioed in Al-Karan's location to Kuze. All units intercept the suspect on double, Kuze ordered. Kano will provide guidance using the surveillance monitors. And so Al-Karan stopped in front of a cigarette vending machine. Was he waiting for someone? Sasayama reporting. I've got eyes on the mutt. Mutt perpetrator. Hook. Put someone in cuffs. Dipper. Pickpocket. Wants. Outstanding warrants. Hang paper. To write multiple citations and other such traditional police jargon. Kano's partner had evidently been nearby. I'm making the arrest, he said. There was a note of courage in Sasayama's voice. He came into view on the monitor walking casually. Oh! At some point, he ditched his anime nerd costume for a cat mascot suit. He has the cat suit that Maria had. Oh no, Kano muttered. That get-up's gonna make Sasayama stand out like a sore thumb. Shoot! The mutt spotted me. I'm going in pursuit. Sasayama slipped out of the camera's view. Whoa. What gives? Let go of me. You're Mr. Yamashita, right? Look, I'm sorry, but I really do need you to return that costume. The voices came in over the wireless. It sounded like Sasayama was caught up in an argument with someone. Sasayama! Kano shouted as he eyed the monitor. Kano, I need some help here. Requesting emergency backup. The line went dead before Sasayama could finish. Kano didn't have the faintest idea what was going on, but obviously his partner needed him. He rushed out of the precinct. When he arrived on the scene, he saw Sasayama still in the catsuit, caught up in a scuffle with a man he'd never seen before. There was no sign of Al-Quran. Sasayama, what's going on? That's an excellent question, Sasayama replied. This guy just came at me out of nowhere. Sounded pretty riled up. Sir, I need you to return this costume. Boss was very insistent on that point. The man was panting with exertion, shouting in Sasayama's face. Was he the owner of the suit? What's the deal with that thing? Sasayama Kano asked. I bought it at a variety store on such a guy. Figured it'd be a perfect disguise. I didn't steal anything. Sir, I'm telling you, you need to give that suit back. And I'm telling you, I've got no idea what you're on about. Sasayama stamped his foot. I realize that you're not Mr. Nagashita. That isn't the issue. I just need you to return that costume. All right, sure, I'll give it to you. I need it a little longer, so let go of me. I can't do that, sir. I need you to get out of that suit right now. Yeah, I get that, buddy, but no can do. It's like I told you before, the zipper on this thing snagged. Kano watched as the argument descended further and further into absurdity. Meanwhile, Al-Quran was getting away. This was ridiculous. He turned to go in pursuit of the suspect. Kano, wait! Sasayama called out. Come on, help me out, man. Huh? Help me get this thing off. Now really isn't the time for this, Kano replied. I'm going after the suspect. Oh, I get it. You're gonna ditch me here so you can take all the credit for yourself. Whoa, what? I was this close to nabbing the guy. That arrest is mine to make, and you know it. It wasn't as though Kano couldn't empathize. If Sasayama hadn't been blindsided by this random stranger, he probably would have caught Al-Karawan just fine. All right then, Kano said. He reached for the zipper at the back of the catsuit. But as Sasayama had said, the metal fittings were snagged and refused to budge. He's having the same problem Maria had. Hurry up! I'm trying! It wasn't time to do this slowly and carefully. Kano yanked down the zipper hard. Stop! The stranger shrieked in alarm. Don't be so rough like that. But if I don't, I'll never... You mustn't! If you aren't careful, you'll cause a malfunction. Malfunction? What the hell was this guy talking about? Kano got an even firmer grip on the zipper and pulled again. Oh! He paused in surprise as Sasayama meowed. Again, Sasayama let out a little cry. Except it didn't sound like Sasayama's voice at all. Guys, Sasayama said, there's something making a rumbling noise inside this thing. He sounded pretty alarmed. Uh-oh, said the other man. It has started. His face went pale. What are you talking about? Sasayama demanded. What started? The man hesitated, then seemed to come to a decision. Well, you see, this is no ordinary cat costume. Meaning what exactly? Our shop rented this unit out by mistake. Oh, I had no idea it was anything so horrifying. Not until the boss filled me in a little while ago. What's horrifying? You're not answering the question. The man's gaze grew hollow and distant. Cats, he said. For a moment, there was only silence. Sasayama spoke up nervously. Well, yeah. It's a cat. I know that already. No, you're not listening. This is a cat. Like I said, I already know it's a cat. Anyone can see that just from looking at it. No, not a cat. Cats. Costume as transmission system developed by Far East Costume Rentals high-tech department. There was an official corporate notice stating, "This is just a prototype and potentially dangerous, so do not lend it out under any circumstances," but it was accidentally rented by mistake. Oh my. Oh my God. The neon started back up again. With each neon, the sound got faster. Soon the sound less like a cat and more like some mechanism that was whirling about. There was a sudden, fierce, blinding flash. Space itself began to wrap in a roughly 3-meter radius around Sasayama in his costume. A moment later, Kano and the others had vanished. Are you kidding me? What? Cats. No, what was the hint? Okay. Kano, Sasayama, and the rental guy were sent into another dimension due to a malfunction, and the cat's Detective Sasayama should probably never have put that cat suit on. You mentioned buying it at a variety shop on Century Guy. That's your lead here. His keep out is done. Hers is to be continued. That was the. Okay, so I did the right thing by. So somehow we have to get it from that shop or something. That's still a bad ending. That's still a bad ending. Alright, so I'm gonna go with. Minorikawa. Where would I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know. Here or there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. I don't have time for such nonsense. Please, be on your way. I'm not going anywhere until I get an interview. Interview? Who are you with? The woman's tone had changed now. Maybe Minorikawa could simply talk his way through this. This is a piece for 4-star general gossip. Ah, perfect. I've been wanting to talk to them. Was this one of the Miss Midoriyama winners? Perhaps it was the girl's mother, eager to boast about her daughter's achievement. I assume you're familiar with the defamation of character, the woman said. What are you talking about? Article 230 of the Penal Code of Japan defines it as any attack against a person's reputation or social standing. It's a very serious crime. I know what it is, Minorikawa said. What's your point? You had a bad feeling about this. Why discuss liberal laws right before an interview? Oh, I'm not letting you get away with telling me you've forgotten. I wonder if you'll remember once I bring up the charges. Her tone was calm and level, but laced with malice. You're talking nonsense, lady. Are you the mother? I've got business with your daughters. Put one of them on the line. Nonsense! The woman's wrath radiated from the intercom. It's your four-star general gossip that specializes in nonsense. Her voice was so loud it was cracking. Detective, arrest this man. He's a criminal. Detective, huh? You don't really think I'd fall for that, do you, lady? Just who do you think I am? I'm Miyu Murakawa. Crossed his arms and struck a defiant pose. Uh-oh. Then the front door opened up and several men came trotting out. Sir, one of the men said, we'd like to ask you a few questions. At the word sir, the man flashed his badge and Murakawa turned to run on reflex. He had thought she'd actually send detectives after him. Just what the hell had Heaven Publishing done to her? Never mind, he needed to get out of there. He couldn't afford to get arrested right now. Out with it. You abducted that girl, didn't you? Oh, shoot. Another bad ending. Detective, you keep asking me the same question over and over. And I'll keep on asking until you tell me the truth. Look, ask all you want, but I can't tell you what I don't know. Then let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Oh, cut the crap. I don't have time for your games. As a matter of fact, you have plenty of time. I can assure you of that. The stubborn detective flashed him a grin. I can keep doing this for days if that's what it takes to get you to confess. Bad ending. And so the interrogation went on for hours, and in the end, once his innocence had been established, Murakawa was finally released. He wrote a scathing indictment on his experience. The report shook up the system in a major way, but that's another story for another day. Oh my Jesus. Wrongfully accused. Murakawa was arrested for a crime he had nothing to do with. That woman he talked to must really hate four-star general gossip. Clearly he had no hope of getting anywhere with her, but maybe there's someone more understanding who might answer the intercom instead. It's gotta be Osawa. Okay, here we go. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped into a sofa, then grabbed 3 times his normal dosage of stomach pills. There was no water in the room, so he had to swallow them dry. Detective Kano's words echoed in his mind. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's Hitomi. There was only one reason they could be after Hitomi. He broke out in a cold sweat as he began to understand what this kidnapping was really about. It had all started 6 days earlier. It was April 22nd. Osawa had just returned from the United States. The day before, he was in the midst of some routine work in the general research lab when his cell phone rang. The LCD display showed an unlisted caller. With some hesitation, Osawa picked up. Hello? Is this Kenji Osawa? The caller was using a voice modulator, the type of device or software used to make one's voice sound different. Changing the voice to the point of making a voice print or tone analysis impossible presents a major challenge. To be able to do so in real time requires major financial and technological resources. Osawa raised an eyebrow. Yes. Go and analyze Hitomi's blood. Her blood? If you don't, she's going to die. With that, the caller hung up. There was an intensity behind this that made Osawa sure it wasn't just some prank call. He had Hitomi come into the lab ASAP. He told Hitomi he wanted a sample of her blood for an experiment. She agreed, suspecting nothing. He placed some of the blood he'd drawn into a glass slide and added some fluorescein, a type of fluorescent dye. The yellow-green liquid, a type of fluorescent dye chiefly used in preparing specimens for viewing under a fluorescent microscope, but it has other uses as well, such as a diagnostic regimen administered in eye exams. Its highest volume use is on St. Patrick's Day, when massive amounts of fluorescein are used to dye the Chicago River green. Type of dye that causes the dyed substance to emit higher wavelength fluorescent light when illuminated with a certain other type of light. Such dyes can reveal fine details when used on specimens viewing through a fluorescent microscope. Placing the slide on... Oh shoot, I went too fast. It can't be. Sawa could hardly believe his eyes. Wriggling under the microscope was a Grim Reaper sickle itself. There was no mistaking it. Hitomi was infected with the UA virus. Trembling, Sawa hurried to his computer. Opened the UA virus folder on his monitor. Within were images showing the stages of the virus's propagation. He double-clicked to magnify the first image. The Reaper's sickles were interlocked with one another. He clicked on the next image. After further propagation, the UA virus looked less like a sickle, more like some sort of insectoid larva. The next was the final image. Interlocked in a single mass, the UA virus vaguely resembled a sinister many-petaled sunflower. It looked like a mere 12 hours for the pathogen to develop to this point and begin its hideous destruction of the human body. Hitomi's infection sample was still in the state shown in the first image. There was still a chance to save her. Osawa slumped back in his chair, huddling it on himself. He had no choice. There was only one way to save Hitomi. He would have to administer the nearly completed antiviral. Using the antiviral without official approval was a grievous violation of company policy. It is that you can get a lot of trouble, man. Without approval? If she dies, you get fired, company could go bank. Oh my God. Acting against company rules and regulations, Okushi Pharmaceutical prohibits leaking work-related information to outsiders. Yeah, because anything can happen. Anything and everything. In the case of a major violation, not only can the violator be fired, but the company may also seek indemnities. Yeah. That's huge. What he's deciding to do. Still, Osawa didn't have time to get the higher-ups to approve a clinical trial. He might be punished severely for it, but this was his only option. His daughter's life was at stake. But there was also another, even bigger hurdle in his way. The antiviral drug was stored in the deepest recesses of the biochemical research building. A high-intensity X-ray scanner was set up at the entrance to the storage area. This made it impossible for him to take the research materials out. Type of radiation also referred to as Roentgen's rays. I see why they abbreviated with a shorter wavelength than UV light, but a longer wavelength than gamma rays. Because X-rays can penetrate many objects with little absorption or scattering, they can be used to create images of internal structure. Hospitals, for example, use X-ray technology to examine the insides of patients' bodies, while security personnel use it to scan luggage at airports and to search for bombs. Well, if he couldn't get the antiviral out of there, he'd just have to bring Hitomi in. A course of action quickly took shape in his mind. First, he'd need to slip out of the General Research Building. He would then head to the biochemical research facility and show his ID card to the guard to the front gate. Passing through a lobby under the watchful gaze of several security cameras, he reached an elevator at the end of the hall that went directly to the storage section. This elevator required an ID card scan to operate. It would take about 20 seconds to get down to the first basement's level and arrive at the entrance to the storage area. Finding an excuse to get Hitomi that far, though, ought to be doable. If the security guard got suspicious, Osawa would say it was for a top-secret hematology experiment, and the guard would probably believe him. The problem was what came after. Getting into the storage area itself required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. This meant that he couldn't possibly get to the antiviral without Tanaka's cooperation. Desperate with uncertainty, Osawa called up Tanaka. He frantically explained the situation. Understood, Tanaka replied, we need to get her this drug as soon as possible. If the company finds out about this, you'll be held accountable for violation of corporate policy along with me. Are you sure you're okay with that? What are you talking about? Hitomi's life is more important than company policy. Tanaka spoke with hesitation. Osawa felt an immense surge of gratitude for his assistance. And I have to say, I'm deeply moved by your determination, Tanaka. Moved, whatever for. You really are worried about Hitomi. Osawa's gratitude faded. What are you talking about? Of course I am. My apologies. It's just that putting your career on the line for something so personal is what? It's not like me? No. Well, yes. I'm sorry. Now Tanaka's voice was colored with embarrassment. Just what sort of person do you think I am? Osawa resisted the urge to ask the question out loud. A short time later, Osawa and Tanaka stood before the door to the secure storage area. The security guard had let them in without the slightest suspicion. Osawa pressed his index finger to the fingerprint scanner first. Accepted. He realized he'd been holding his breath as his authorization finally went through. Half a moment later, Tanaka touched his own finger to the scanner plate. Accepted. Lock released with an audible clang. The heavy door opened. Osawa hurried to retrieve the antiviral. As he picked up a small vial, he had a sudden realization. They were finally going to use the drug in a human test. His fatherly wish to cure Hitomi was overlaid by an intense rush of curiosity. The researcher drive to discover his results. Hurry! I need to hurry. I need to administer the antiviral as soon as possible. Osawa could hardly fend off his excitement. Over the course of the next few hours following the injection, the UA virus would be eradicated from Hitomi's body. There had been some fever and cramping as temporary side effects, but DDS had done a spectacular job of stomping out the virus. Drug delivery system. also known as smart drug delivery, the ability to target a specific region of the body with a specific drug has momentous implications for the future of medicine. DDS technology is currently being tested extensively around the world. Saving his daughter's life, Osawa had proven the value of his research. If he had been asked which made him happier, he would have been hard-pressed to give an answer. Afterwards, he asked Hitomi where she could have become infected, but she had no idea. He explained the need for secrecy and strictly forbade her telling anyone else what had happened. Now, a week had passed since Osawa gave the drug to Hitomi. He'd been conducting checks and had discovered that the DDS had not broken down and remained in Hitomi's bloodstream. Extracting the DDS was a simple matter requiring just a small blood sample from around the nape of the neck. DDS itself was simply the delivery system for the antiviral drug. Residual amounts of the antiviral itself stayed behind within the cells. The materials used to create the DDS must, as a matter of course, cause minimal or no harm to the human body. Ideally, rather than accumulate inside the body, DDS substances should be either digested and absorbed or excreted, because the antiviral must remain in the body for as long as the virus is active. However, a very careful balance must be struck between persistence and dissipation. Using the DDS, it was possible to extract those minuscule amounts from the cells in a blood sample. It might take considerable time, but sufficiently detailed analysis could allow for the antiviral drug itself to be reconstructed. Saw felt the chill as he contemplated the situation. The kidnappers had known how tough security was at the lab, so they'd come up with the idea of using a human vessel to get what they needed from within. By infecting Hitomi with the UA virus, they'd ensure that she'd receive the antiviral that she'd have in her blood. Wow. Tanaka was working with the kidnappers. That explained why he'd been so cooperative about the fingerprint scanner. Darn it! Osawa shouted. Osawa. He clutched his head in his hands. Tanaka had been his partner and trusted confidant for years. Osawa refused to believe he'd been betrayed like this. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop it here. Thanks for watching. My name is Raven from the Sky. If you enjoyed the episode, do me a favor and drop a like and subscribe to the channel and the series grow. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.